I'm Jay, and this is NFC North Weekly. And joining us again, our friend from across the pond, Maddie Waters. Maddie, thanks for coming again. And before you tell us how you're the Nostradamus of football, how about you tell us a little bit about Travel Story Society?
Yeah, so said it in last week's video, but the Travel Story Society is a website and podcast where you can share your own stories about travel and read some of ours. And if you're not into reading, then the podcast is probably the place for you to go. It's all on our website, www.travelstorysociety.com, where you can find all the stuff that we're going over. And I don't know about the Nostradamus of football, but I am pretty proud that I went 6-0 last week.
Well, you called that Doug Peterson firing too, so
Doug Peterson firing as well. Hey, if you want to know what to bet on, then maybe listen to me this week. But I'm not as confident for this week's picks. But
well,
what around the football?
I felt pretty good going 4-2 because in the gambling world, that's a pretty good, week. But then,
Yeah.
of course, I had the podcast with the UK savant over there, so
Well, I don't bet myself because whenever I bet, I end up going for my own soccer team, which is Sunderland, who are terrible and they lose all the time, so I can never bet ever again. But my friend has been betting all this year based on my picks, and he texted me last night just being like, "Oh my God, I've made some money! I've made some money!" So he owes me a couple of pints, I think, and then as soon as lockdown's over.
I probably should admit this, but I watch all the paid per views on BT Sports.
Yeah.
And we get your British commercials because I'm streaming it. And them gambling commercials you guys got over there make me want to start betting.
Yeah, they're good. They are good at what they do.
So I got to start out with this. I just have to. I have to start out with the Colts game.
Yep.
I have to ask how you do not kick that field goal going into half and go up by 10, take those points at halftime and go up by 10 and walk into the locker room.
I have absolutely no idea why you wouldn't take that against an absolutely firing, like they were stuttering at the start, but you know that the Bills' offense is going to come back and eventually come back and score some points. So I don't understand why you wouldn't try and go ahead early on.
Yeah, it killed me. Like, I get that you want to score that touchdown and you're close, but at that point in the game, and that's why I get paid the big bucks to coach from home, is you can't pass up points before the half.
Yeah, I think everybody's really gone into this analytics sort of world, and in the regular season, analytics will pay off for you, right? Because across the course of the season, you'll make up the points that you've lost because you've gone through the analytics stages, and you're eventually going to come out on top of percentages. But in the the postseason, you've got to play what you see, and you know that the Bills are going to come back and score on you. So take those points while you can. But I think maybe they weren't confident that they could get far enough out, so they know they needed to score touchdowns and not field goals.
Yeah, I mean, and I didn't even really have a problem with before that when they went for it on fourth down. It was at the half. That just crushed me. I was like, you can't do that. The Bills look good, though.
Hey, I think Josh Allen's got big things to come, and I'm very, very excited for him. He played really well, and he just looked like an accomplished quarterback. He never felt like when he last played in the playoffs, he thought with that overhead pass or whatever he tried, you just thought, what are you doing? But now he looked far more accomplished. He looked ready to go, and he looks like he's been playing football for the amount of years that he's been in the NFL now. And he's got a good coaching system down there, and he's got a wide receiver in Stephon Diggs, who is an absolute animal.
And Beasley is so underrated as a slot receiver. I don't know. I toyed with
getting his name on the back of my Cowboys jersey just before he was traded to the Bills. I love that guy, and I'm so happy to see him doing well, like away from. And then Robert Quinn at the Bears as well, who's doing really well. It's nice to see your players from your franchise doing really well when they haven't been treated right by your franchise. And I'm really happy for BZ, and his just that receiving core looks good. But when you have a guy like Diggs up top, you've got everything. And with an arm like Allen's, he's got all the talent in the world. I feel like the Colts are just a dynamic quarterback away, though. Like I
Yep,
feel
I
like the
agree.
Colts. Yeah, I feel Philip
Rivers
Rivers
didn't
did.
play too bad though.
Rivers did what he is there to do. Rivers did what he gets paid to do, which is in a playoff game, use that experience to try and get them over the line. So you can't really have a go at Rivers there, but I just think if they had a dynamic quarterback, then they'd be there. Like a Sam Darnold for me is a great fit for the Colts, maybe in the postseason trade talk. And also shout out to Hines for going 75 yards off 6 carries for 12.5 a carry. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have a good running game there. Hines kind of killed me in fantasy football because I had Jonathan Taylor, so there'd be some games where he took a lot of runs from Taylor. But then
Yeah.
Beasley, when you were talking about him, he helped me get into the championship. But then I hit that buzzsaw Elvin Kamara in the championship. So
No, mate.
yeah, I played against him in the first round and I got blasted. I was like down by
Yeah.
95 going into week 2 on the championship. Yeah, it was bad.
But I think for like it's not the most impressive Bills win, but it is a win, and it's Josh Allen's first playoff win, and I think that'll mean a lot to him.
All right, well, now that we can talk about maybe Lamar getting off the duck, as you would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a lot of love for that comment.
Now, I have a problem with the coaching in this game also, though.
Yeah, go for it.
If you're the Titans with a little less than 10 minutes left in that game on the 40-yard line, why are you punting?
That was
15
honestly,
yards net. That's all you picked up was 15 yards. Like, why? If you're doing analytics, I don't know for sure, but analytics, I guarantee you, says to go for it right there.
Yeah, definitely. It was fourth and short, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 4th and under 4, I think. It was like 4th and 2, 4th and 3.
And you've got Derrick Henry, who didn't have a good game, which we predicted he would. It was the first time he was held to 40 yards or under, but you've still got Derrick Henry and an amazing offensive line. Run that ball.
And if you look at it, Tannehill's playing pretty well. Jonnu Smith is a huge body you could send across the middle. And then, is it Brown? Is that their receiver?
Yeah.
That dude catches everything in his area. Like, you have to go for that. You have to.
Yeah. What I do have to say about the Titans is that I think Tannehill may be a bit of an average quarterback if he's not on the play action. And the Ravens weren't. The Ravens were selling out for the run. So, and then they eventually were stopping Derrick Henry, so they didn't have to bite on the play action. And then he becomes an average quarterback. So I'm not sure. Like, Tannehill is a good quarterback for the Titans. He's got a really workable contract. But I'm not sure whether I would have trusted him to throw it in that down. But you've got to just go with a read option, Henry firing up the middle or Tannehill out wide, and you've got it.
Do you know what I thought about too is Tannehill being a little athletic, and maybe this is a dumb move, but on 4th and 2, set up in shotgun and do a quarterback draw.
Yeah. I just think I do think the Ravens' run defense was very impressive.
Absolutely,
very impressive.
And how many times do you hit? You see it in games like dudes hit Derrick Henry. They hit Derrick Henry, and by the 4th quarter, they no longer want to hit Derrick Henry. But the Ravens just kept coming.
Isn't it?
They didn't care. Queen kept putting his head down and getting in there. And he might not be the best in pass coverage yet as a rookie. Yeah. But when it comes to the run, he is a hammer.
Animal. Yeah, but you have John Harbaugh on the sidelines pumping those guys up all week long, saying they beat us in the playoffs. They came and danced on our logo or tore up our logo or trained on our logo, whatever they did. We will not lose to Derrick Henry again. He will not get past us. And you just think, yeah, okay. And I'm going to be brutally honest about American football players here, but I don't understand how they get so tired tackling a guy when you get breaks like all the time. Whereas if you play rugby, which is one of the UK's national sports, you run for 80 minutes and you make 12 tackles a game and there's no break. Like you
The
get a
only
break
thing I
10
can
minutes.
tell you from experience is somebody who played hockey and football.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can play a hockey game as a defensive player and go for a lot longer than in a football game where you give everything you got
Yeah,
for
it's
those
everything,
15
every play.
seconds.
That's
Yeah.
the thing, isn't it? It's everything, every play. I just think professional athlete, like, don't fall off. But I was impressed that they were able to keep him under wraps even in the fourth quarter. Impressive.
Yes.
Well done to
No,
the
that's where
Ravens.
I thought Henry was going to start blowing holes open.
Yeah,
And I thought, okay, I'm going to win this game still. You know, as somebody who picked the Titans, I'm like, we're at the
yeah,
perfect spot. I seen this snowball effect. Like, it's going to happen. It happens
yeah.
every week. And the Ravens made sure it never happened.
When they were within 7 points, I was just like, oh my God,
And you know,
what's
kicking
happening here?
is becoming a huge problem when Justin Tuck misses a kick.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
guy's been my
exactly.
fantasy kicker 3 years in a row, and I draft him in like the 6th round. People think I'm crazy, but it's like almost a
Yeah.
guaranteed 10 points every week from my kicker.
Well, I was sat trying to teach my girlfriend the like rules of the game, and I was like, "Oh, this is the best kicker ever! Like this guy never misses."
And he
And he
shanked it.
missed
It
on
was
the
you.
one that he shanked it, and I was like, "God,
You're like that Dr. Pepper
it's like
commercial.
this guy doesn't miss."
Yeah, you
Yeah,
did it.
yeah,
You
that was on me.
caused it.
That was on me. That was on me. But yeah, Lamar breaks his playoff duck, and he played well.
Yes.
Man, he played his game. I don't understand. It's just yes, drop back into pass with him, but Lamar, like if you don't see anything, run the ball, run. And he looked again like Josh Allen, like he's
I
learned
don't
over the
remember.
season.
I don't remember how many yards that big run was.
48 yards, I think.
Okay. It was like you got him. Because you're
Yeah,
seeing the line start shifting over, right? And
yeah.
and you're like, oh no, Lamar's got a crack, and then all of a sudden it was an ocean,
You're just
and
like,
he
oh,
is
that's gone.
so fast. Any other quarterback, if you watch it, or even a running back, right? When he gets up in the middle of the field and you're watching the defenders come in and the safeties come, anybody else is tackled, but it's like he is so quick, he just pops out, and you're like, wow.
But yeah, it's like I've been a supporter of Kyler Murray all the way through, but that makes Kyler Murray look not that quick. Like he was cooking as he went towards that line there. That was quick.
Yeah,
Great
Kyler
touchdown.
Murray's got this short distance quickness that blows you away, those short cuts,
Yeah,
and
but
they're both
Lamar is
fast.
just
But in a race, I think Lamar just smokes him.
yeah,
I'm sad Lamar never ran the 40 at the combine because I'd actually like to know how fast he is.
yeah, yeah. He didn't need to. Everyone was just like,
No, it was
we
smart. The
know it's
way
quick.
he handled it to be a quarterback, even though I didn't think he'd be as good as he is, it was smart
Yeah,
because he believed in himself and he knew what he had. So,
yeah. I still question his arm, but it's just kind of like when you can run like that, then just go for it, man. Like
yeah, he's just got to learn how to throw
if you
outside the
see a
number.
crack, yeah, but if you see a crack, just go for it. Like I think
Yes,
is the way that they'll play. Should we move on to my favorite game of the week, which was the Browns versus the Steelers? That
absolutely. We
was my
both looked
favorite
like
game.
geniuses.
Yeah, man.
It
I was so
reminded me.
buzzed.
It reminded me of the start of that game and the way it snowballed. Reminded me of the Super Bowl of Denver versus the Seahawks. First snap over Peyton's head, and then it was
Yeah,
just a snowball after that.
yeah. It was just done. It was just done. And you look at Roethlisberger's yards, and you think, oh wow, he's playing amazing. They've scored 37 points on him. That's because the Browns were like, yeah, we're just not going to let you beat us over the top. You're just not going to score any quick touchdowns. All of your
Oh yeah,
touchdown
they
drives
dropped
are going to
to
take
a
time.
prevent. Yeah, they
Yeah.
dropped into a
So
prevent type defense and played the clock more than the team.
yeah, definitely, definitely. I have a few comments to say on this, and it's that the Browns is the Browns comment by Juju Smith Schuster. Did you not learn? Like, did he not learn what to not do that. Like, what did he say about Cincinnati? Said something about Cincinnati gets blown up, fumbles a ball, and then he says as he goes in, Browns is the Browns. And I don't know whether, even if he didn't mean to say it like that, you're just giving professional athletes that extra little thing to hang on to. Baker Mayfield has the biggest chip on his shoulder anyway, so he doesn't need,
That's what I was
like,
going to
he doesn't
say.
need your help.
Baker's petty, and this is
Yeah,
what I love
he doesn't
about
need your
Baker.
help to get them pumped up.
Yeah, what I love
and
about Baker is he's petty, and that comment, I know it pissed him off, even if they don't say it. And Jarvis Landry's a dog, and I bet that pissed him off too.
There are some dogs on that team. I'm excited about the Browns going forward. I did really enjoy the Browns. Do really enjoy the Browns doing well. I just think that comment kind of showed the Steelers' issue with this whole game. They weren't ready to play. They weren't ready for that. Like, Pouncey's the one who snapped that ball over his head. It's not like a rookie center. He's an incredibly experienced center. And, like, I just think it showed their poor mindset. That comment was indicative of the Steelers' poor mindset all the way through. And they just weren't ready to play. They weren't ready to play that game. Big Ben was trash.
Well, that tells you a lot about Ben, because they asked him after the game if he was going to come back, and he said, if they'll have me.
Yeah, he said, yeah, well, at least he's acknowledging that he played terribly, but that's nice. But he's got one more year on his contract, so I can't see them. He'll play there next season. He's got one more year on his contract. He won't leave, because if he leaves, he'll owe the Steelers $17 million.
No, but it sounds more like, if they want me to play, I'll come back. If not, I'm retiring.
Yeah, I don't think he'll retire. I think they'll play him for one more year, as maybe as if I was them, I would keep Big Ben as a transition quarterback, go out and sell the shop to go out and get a quarterback in the draft, or Jameis Winston's sitting in quarterback school in New Orleans.
Yeah, but this weekend, Sean Payton wants to re-sign him because it looks like Breeze is done after this year.
Oh, Breeze is done after this year, yeah.
And Payton wants to keep him and Hill, because he wants to start Jameis, he said, and keep Taysom Hill, because I think he learned in those couple games that Taysom is not the starting quarterback of the future.
I can see Jameis Winston in the Steelers under Mike Tomlin more than I can see him. But saying that, Peyton's had him for a while, so maybe the Browns will beat the Steelers in their division for the years to come now. I think they're set as a good football team. Stefanski, coach of the year, is, as long as Baker takes a team-friendly contract and their O-line is awesome and Garrett's always there to just disrupt the quarterback.
Right, and they don't have to worry about Baker's contract for another 2 years, because even if they extend him, it'll be after that fifth-year option. They'll give it to him before, but it'll be an extension. So the next 2 years on that contract aren't going to kill them.
2 years, they're fine. Yeah, 2 years, they're fine. And I just think I think they're a team that's set. I think maybe OBJ's time might be up. With that playoff win, I think they might think, let's see what trade capital we can get for him.
I agree. I think they have in Higgins, and their whole receiving core there. I think they're set. People, what's the name? Peoples Pope and Higgins, Peoples Jones. Yeah,
Donovan
and Higgins.
Peoples-Jones.
They both are playing
Donovan
well.
Peoples-Jones.
So I don't think they actually need OBJ. And you could even take like a third or a fourth for him, just to get something and get him off the cap and not have an issue. And then you have more money in free agency. That line played really well, and they have some real studs. But I was nervous because with starting a backup and then with the injury right away. But even those dudes came in and played well. And with Baker Mayfield, he's another guy who can just get the ball out of his hands quick. So that really helped. But there was times in that game, people like to shit on Baker Mayfield, but he, like, at the end of the game when people started to think, oh, maybe the Steelers could come back or whatever, he had some big throws, and then the running game obviously was huge. But he had some big throws. That one down the sideline to Kareem Hunt was like, it was huge.
Yeah, well, the Browns only played well when the Steelers made them play well. Like that, they won this game. They controlled this game all the way through. They controlled it more than the margin of the scoreline suggests. I think I wasn't in doubt. I remember you texting me saying, "Oh, you can go to bed now."
Oh yeah.
After the first quarter, and I said, "Oh no, I don't trust the Browns." But I remember it got to halftime, and I was like, "They've got this. They've got it." I
Well, because
woke up and they had it, so it's fine.
I'm thinking to myself, it's like 2 a.m. for you or something. I'm like,
Oh yeah, it was late,
and I
man.
saw you were still up, and I was like, you can go to bed now. Like, yeah, you're done. But then as soon as I said that to you, the Steelers closed the gap.
Yeah.
It was almost like
It's
I
like
jinxed
Jay.
that because as soon as I
It's like
text
Jay,
that to
you
you,
suck.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I have to ask, what did you think about the Rams and the Seahawks?
Um. Yeah, it kind of played out in a predictable way. I thought. What a good game. Like I said it would be a close game, but I didn't think it would be so defensive. I didn't actually realize Goff wasn't playing. Do you think Goff was just dropped? I know they're saying it's an injury, but he was clearly healthy enough to play the whole game.
Yeah, he had surgery on his hand, and I think it's one of two things. And I'm leaning towards um, that McVay's just not sold on Goff like he used to
Yeah,
be. But it also could be like, okay, he's good enough to play if we need him to right now with the injury, but let's let him heal another week. But my question comes, and this was where I was going to lead to is that game even close if Goff doesn't play? Because it looked like he was throwing the ball like Phillip Rivers.
yeah. I don't know. I can't see what was the guy's name that they're growing? John Walford. John Walford was his name, and I just I couldn't see him getting away from the Seahawks. Like their defense was playing well. Like
Right.
they did well until the fourth quarter where it then decided to wrap up. So I don't know how much better Wolford would have been, but at least he can kind of move around in the pocket and throw the ball
That's
pretty
what I was going to say.
quickly.
He's more
I just
athletic.
think,
He could have scrambled. And
yeah,
Goff is usually a pretty accurate quarterback. He's just, I think his reading of the defense is where his problems come in. But he's
yeah,
pretty accurate. So he wasn't very accurate. So I almost wonder if they would have been better off with more of a zone read, letting, Wolford get outside, moving it around. Would it even been that close? Because I'm not sold on the Seahawks defense like I used to be. And like
yeah.
me and you talked about before we started recording, does Russell Wilson now have to win a playoff game to prove he can win without the Legion of Boom?
Yes, I wrote this down last night, but Russell Wilson scored 40 touchdowns in the regular season. But then in that game, he had a QBR of 17.6. He got sacked
Yeah.
5 times. That is bleak. Like I don't think Russell Wilson can be too much to blame when you look at the Rams defense and the Seahawks have just sacked their offensive coordinator today, haven't they? Or yesterday. I
Yeah.
can't remember his name, but they just sacked him today. So I don't know how much blame they're putting on Wilson, but he got a 17.6 QBR. That is terrible. And but when you look at it, you've got Aaron Donald didn't let Wilson have a minute in the pocket. He was blowing up linemen left, right, and center. Even so, they were double teaming him, which meant the other guys had time to go and sack him. He got sacked 5 times, and then you have just that coverage from that secondary with Ramsey locking down DK Metcalf. Like where can Wilson go if they can't run the ball?
They're going to have a
So
problem with Metcalf in the future, too. And I really like
yeah,
DJ
man,
Metcalf, but the way he's throwing fits on the sideline
he was
reminds me a
dropping on the
lot of what
sideline.
started to happen with Stephon Diggs in
Yeah,
Minnesota.
he was stropping on the sideline, man, and that doesn't help. And you could see Pete Carroll dressing him down a few times, and it was kind of like, "What are you doing? Like, you're a grown man. Like,
And you
calm
should
down."
be happy. You got a quarterback like Russell Wilson and you got TJ Lockett on the other side. As a
Yeah,
receiver, you should be in receiver heaven.
Tyler Lockett. Some of those catches were very impressive. Tyler Lockett looked good. I'm surprised they didn't just throw the ball up to him more because he looked like he was catching everything. But I think because DK was dropping on the sidelines, that they then tried to force the ball to him, and you could see it in that pick six. I was able to call that pick six. I was sat watching it at home, and I went, "They're throwing a screen. That if that guy gets past the blocker, then this is a pick six," and that's what happened. And I think Chris Sims said it on his what does he do? The Unbuttoned with Chris Sims podcast or radio show, whatever it is. He said, "I saw that play come in. They were just trying to force that to DK Metcalf," and I was like, "Yeah, that's exactly what they were trying to do." Yeah. Okay. So the run game from the Rams was impressive. What's his name? Aiken, and he ran for 131 yards. Like he kind of came out of nowhere. Like impressive run behind a very good O line. So I think they did have a lot more going for them than the Seahawks. And I don't know, Walford wouldn't have made them that much better than Goff. I don't think. But
I just
their
wonder
defense looks incredible.
I wonder if he could have stressed out the Seahawks defense with moving around more, freed more guys up. The longer they have to cover, the more Metcalf and Lockett get open. But I was going to say about that pick six, the weird stat I heard during the game was that was the only pick six on a wide receiver screen all year.
Yeah, all season. Yeah, yeah, I heard that one. I was like, what? That was mental. It's just because they were trying to force it to him. We'll see what John Walford does next week against the Packers. We'll see how good he is.
Is he starting? Did they call that?
I think everybody's saying he's starting.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he came off the injury okay, and I saw a few shows that said he was starting, so I guess he's starting, which makes me think they're benching Goff.
Yeah, I don't think they have a lot of faith in Goff.
No, I think he's lost confidence in himself, and and the coach has lost confidence in him as well. The Rams defense is really something, and hey, we'll see what happens against the Packers.
Yeah, that Aaron Donald injury is how he feels is gonna have a lot to do with how that defense goes. So I guess it's a wait and see type injury. And they were saying that's one of those injuries that even if you shoot it up, there's still going to be pain. And I do know that I have had fractured ribs before. I know his is the cartilage, but that is one of the most painful things besides a collarbone that I've ever dealt with. So good luck on that one.
Yeah, good luck, Aaron Donald.
So
good recovery.
Might as well just get this one out of the way. Tampa Bay and the football team.
Well, it was a game that the Bucs playoff against Saints in the zone. I'm a bit depressed, to be honest, watching it. Cowboys fan, I thought this isn't going to be close. And Taylor Heineke, where the hell did he come from? Well,
yes,
Taylor Heineke, the St. Louis Battlehawks of the XFL have a great time.
Yes, Vikings fans, that is the same Taylor Heineke that you signed as an undrafted free agent and was on your practice squad a couple years ago.
Oh, no way. I didn't know that. All I've got is the St. Louis Battlehawks have an awesome quarterback scouting team.
Yes.
Maybe an option. Yeah. Maybe the Bears need to hire that scouting team to find a decent QB.
Well, you got to sign him to a futures contract, don't you, after that game?
Yeah, I think Washington. I'm not sure whether he's the quarterback of the future, but they don't really have a lot of options in the draft after.
And at worst, he's your backup.
Where they're picking. Yeah, he's going to be a great backup. He played really well, but for that game, it was always going to be a Bucs win. The Bucs played well. They went out. They got the business done. Their playoff starts next week.
Yeah, I don't think there was much to say except the Bucs looked like they should against a team like that. The football team impressed me a little bit with they tried to win that game. They played hard, and it looks like they got some pieces moving forward for the future. But again, their whole thing sits at quarterback. What do you do there?
Yeah, they need to go out and find a quarterback. Just one thing to take away is the Bucs kind of got a run game. which could help them potentially against the Saints to keep Tom Brady upright and not get the dude hit around the park the whole time. Like they've
Yep.
got a bit of a run game going. So that's the one takeaway from that game. The rest of it, they should have won. They went out
And
and won the game.
everybody said Leonard Fournette can't catch. And I said, wait till he gets with Brady. That dude's going to have to learn how to catch. And he's catching them out of the backfield now because Brady dumps off to his running backs a lot. We've watched it for 20 years now, you know. James White was a Badger who is probably in the best spot for a small running back that he could have been with Brady and the Patriots. So I watched a lot of him coming out of the backfield with Brady, and I was like, if you're going to play with Brady, you're going to have to learn how to catch.
Yeah, and I think that could help them. Well, it should help them next week. But that's it. That's all that I've got to say about that game. To be perfectly honest,
Right?
Washington shouldn't have even been there. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like the Saints-Bears game also. Like, what I seen out the Saints-Bears game was they didn't pull away as fast as I thought they were gonna. But it was really watching that game the whole time. I was just like, so when's it going to happen? Because you knew sooner or later the Saints were going to step on the throttle and they were just going to take that game.
Hey, I thought, do you know what? I didn't think the Bears played too badly to keep that Saints team in check. I think their defense played well. They played as we thought they would play all year. They played on their defense and they did well. Do you know what? I don't even think Mitch Trubisky did that badly. He only threw for 199 yards, which isn't good. But he wasn't helped by his receivers dropping touchdowns and getting disqualified from games.
Well, no, I agree with that, but I expected the Bears defense to play well. So that was a given going in because they're just a good defense. But it's the throws Mitch misses that I find the most troubling. And the fact that they say it looks like this morning they're saying that Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy are staying, which I don't know what you do. And then your one saving grace in the defense and Chuck Pagano retires this morning. So it's just like, and then if you're Trubisky, do you stay in Chicago? Because I don't. I'd rather go sit behind Jameis Winston in New Orleans with Sean Payton for a year or two than start for Matt Nagy.
Yeah, I think there's a few, Mitch Trubisky will not be playing for the Bears. He's out. He's too much has gone under the bridge. I don't think Foles will be playing for the Bears either because he couldn't even beat out Mitch for the starting job. So what do you do there? There's got to be some quarterbacks lying around for you to take. Maybe a Tyrod Taylor, maybe that kind of player to send you in. Somebody who'll complement your defense. And I think Mitch needs to go somewhere and learn how to play quarterback again. So Saints is a great place to go. KC behind Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, that might be a great place to go. Just a few places where you can learn to play quarterback. Patriots, you never know what they're going for.
I feel bad for Mitch Trubisky, even though I shit on him all the time, because you took a kid from college who only played 1 year. I think he only had 4 wins. And then you throw him to the wolves. You didn't even let him learn how to play NFL football. He barely knew how to play college football. And there's no bigger leap from college to the NFL, so he never got to sit and learn. So I feel like a guy like him could go to a guy, Andy Reid or Sean Payton, and sit for a year or two like he should have from the beginning and learn the NFL game, because he still looks like in year 4 that he's over his head.
Yeah, I just think he looked like he had enough talent to go out and be dynamic enough to win a football game. He just doesn't make good decisions. So I just think if you find a place to put in, then you've got it. Then he'll be fine. And I just think there's a few teams that'll make a play for Mitch Trubisky in the upcoming market. I think he's got potential. I just think that I don't know what you're going to do about your receivers dropping so many catches and then being stupid enough. Surely didn't a Bear get disqualified from the game for hitting the same guy last time they played each other?
It was almost a repeat of whatever. And he's an idiot too, because I even said to my wife when it happened, because she was watching the game with me, And I said, if he just shoved him in the chest, he'd have got that penalty, but he'd have still been in the game. But no, this idiot pops him in the face.
Yeah, it's just like surely they were talking about that all week, and I just don't want the Bears fans to feel too bad. I know this is an NFC North podcast, so I don't want them to feel too bad. I don't think you played that badly. You just came up against a great team, but your receivers are not good enough if they're going to do that. You can't drop touchdowns either. It's just not the way to win games. And yeah, your defense is stud-like. Your defense is unreal. You've got that sorted. If you find a quarterback, you might have a start to the best fans out there.
I agree.
Yeah.
They're a quarterback away from being a pretty good team.
Yeah, I think you've got to take into account that Saints offense has been molded around Breeze for 14 years. He's been a New Orleans Saint. So you're going against one of the most well-oiled machines in the NFL. And a few people have come out and said that they might have the best roster in the NFL. And when you put Trubisky up against their defense, which can cover you on the back end and put pressure on you on the defensive line, I think you can forgive him for not putting up a ton of yards. But I mean, he threw for more yards than Lamar Jackson did in the Titans game.
Okay, but are we really comparing Lamar and Trubisky?
No, of course not. I just think people are. I just think people are getting on Trubisky's back a bit, and I didn't think he played that badly, but he will not be a Bear next season, I don't think.
Yeah, and I think it really hurts how high they took him. The other guys who went in the same draft, the fact that they gave up to move up one spot, poor Trubisky, it all lands on him. Even though none of that was his decision, you're always compared to Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson. Oh, they moved up to get you. That you were the second overall pick. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. That it's hard on him, and maybe once he leaves the Bears, that pressure will be off his shoulders, and he can I just think he needs to go learn to play quarterback, and he's going to be a great backup for somebody next season.
And maybe someday he'll start, but he needs to, like you said, learn. Good segue into the Saints, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, this is my favorite matchup of the week. I'm excited for this one.
All right.
I don't know which way this one's going to go.
Before you steal my thunder, since you were 6-0, before you steal my thunder,
go for it.
Brady and Tampa win that game.
I'm calling the same thing. Brady and Tampa.
I thought you were going to. That's why I said you ain't stealing my thunder. Because one, it's Brady. It's the playoffs. The Tampa starting to play well together, and statistically it shows it's really hard to beat a team 3 times in 1 year.
Yeah, I just think you're not going to bet against Brady. I just think it's Brady and Breeze's final game against each other. So let's enjoy that when we're watching it, because Breeze won't be playing next season. Brady struggles when he gets hit in the pocket, and the Saints have an ability to really get after you. I mean, the guy's 44 years old. Like that's going to be difficult for him if he's getting hit. But their offensive line looked good against the defensive line of the football team, which is a plus. I mean, that the rookie that they got worst is a good addition to any offensive line. I think. I don't know. I'm feeling it's going to be a bit of a shootout. And I just think when you put Brady is still upset about getting picked in the 6th round, and the guy has 6 Super Bowls. So when he's been beaten 2 times in the same season, I think he has the ability to just go supernova and just throw dimes all day.
I agree, and I think Brian Leftwich is going to have the plays called where Brady's going to get it quick out of his hand. I don't think he's going to let that defensive line for the Saints eat. I think, and then I was listening to AQ Shipley talk about the offensive line there, even though he's injured now. He was talking about the chemistry coming along really well, and how Bruce Arians, like we talked about, actually is getting out of Leftwich's way because he's liking the way that Leftwich is calling the mixture of the offense, where I think Arians at first was a little sketchy about blending them, but they said he really likes it, so he's getting out of his way. And Leftwich, being a retired quarterback, I think he knows Brady dump him, get him. And he, like we've talked about before, that receiving core, just get them the ball and let them do their thing.
Yeah.
Let them run enough where they have to respect the run. And both defenses are good. The Saints defense is better, but I think Brady and that offense is better than Breeze in that offense, even though I don't want to take away from the Saints offense because they're fucking amazing. But I think just that Tampa's playing a little bit better right now.
Yeah, I think that Tampa is starting to really cook and have Antonio Brown running underneath, and then the boys in the back, Evans and Goodwin, stretching the field. And then, as we were just speaking before, Leonard Fournette can catch. Like you've got someone to dump it off to, and they have a running game now. It looks like they have the start of a running game. So the Saints can't just tee off on Brady all day. Like they're gonna have to play the run. They're gonna have to. So I don't know. I feel like Brady's gonna be the one who wins this game for them. I feel like he's just gonna have that chip on their shoulder. This is the worst matchup for the Bucks in the off season, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Feel like the Saints, yeah, and you do have Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, and Drew Brees, who before the game of the weekend only played 67 snaps together this season. I saw that stat on the coverage. So they have another week of playing together. But with all that said, I still think that Tom Brady is going to be the one that takes it.
Well, I don't believe that the Saints will win another Super Bowl with Sean Payton. And here's why.
Right, okay.
If you go back to the Minnesota Miracle game, right? Stephon Diggs. Right before that happened, Sean Payton decided to turn to the crowd and do the skull chant. He was rubbing it into the crowd. Well, I've said this before on NFC North. It is the curse of the skull chant. And here's why. You do that, Minnesota Miracle happens. The next year, the Phantom no call. The year after last year, Kirk Cousins daggers you in the playoffs in the overtime. It's the skull chant curse. And because Sean Payton was a dick to the Minnesota Vikings fans, he's cursed.
So there you go, Tom Brady. If you're listening, you have the skull chant curse on your side working against Sean Payton. There we go.
Yes.
I think that's enough. That's all I needed to know. Now I'm confident. I've never been as confident as a pick in my life now that I know that there's a curse on Sean Payton. There we go. Easy.
But it just always seemed funny to me that he got, all cocky in that game when they caught ahead. Yeah. And then the miracle happened, the Phantom called, Kirk Cousins in overtime. It's just like, there might be something to this. It's kind of like the Madden curse,
Yeah, I think that's the game that I'm looking forward to the most. That's the one that I'll definitely be staying up for and watching the whole time. I'm excited for it. It's going to be good.
Let's stay in the NFC then, because the Packers-Rams, and I'll say this off the jump, I think the Packers will win this game. And I probably don't think it's even going to be that hard. But what I will say is if there's any team that could surprise them, it's this one. And it's because of that defense and that running game. And because the Packers have been known to give up a lot of yards in the running game. But I will also say the Packers have a huge advantage in it's going to be 26 degrees, which I think is 4 degrees Celsius-ish. So, or -4, Celsius. So it's going to be cold here. And every team left in the playoffs on the NFC are from somewhere warm.
Yeah. They said that's why they went out to win that game, get the bye and get the home game so they can play in cold weather, because they knew, I think Colin Cowherd was interviewing who's the left tackle for the Rams, the old guy. That's really upset me now. I won't remember his name. It begins with a W.
I can't remember his name. Something
Whitworth or something.
Yeah, like that.
Something like that. Yeah. And he was saying, you're going to be cold. And he went, yeah, but we are going to be cold. We do know that. We're going to go there early to make sure that we acclimatize and stuff. I just think coming to LA to Green Bay, that's not going to be the greatest thing.
Dude.
Packers fans, I hate to say this as a lifelong Cowboy, but you're heading into the NFC Championship game.
Well, I grew up in Wisconsin, and let me tell you, there is no use you cannot get used to that cold.
Yeah.
even if you're from here. But Aaron Rodgers said something that really resonated with me because, you know, he's a California boy and whatever, but
Yeah, he's a
he's lived here a
California
long
guy. Yeah.
time now. And he said, what keeps me going is I know I'm less miserable than they are. So he
Yeah,
knows he's going to be miserable, but because he's from, like, lived in Wisconsin long enough, he's got some use to it. So he's like, I'm going to be less miserable.
Yeah, that's a great way to play. That's a great way to live. Just I'm less miserable than the other guy.
Yeah, I mean, and he even, I was listening to him say, you can't go up to those heaters. And that's what the teams make those mistakes is they put those jackets on and they go up to those 100-degree heaters. He says, as soon as you walk away, the temperature drop is even worse. He was like, so you can't go up by them heaters, and away teams make that huge mistake all the time.
Yeah, and I think besides the weather, there's only a couple of ways that the Rams can win this game, and it all relies on if they can get in behind that awesome offensive line and run that ball down their throat. And there was another team that tried to do that in the snow and tried to go toe for toe for Green Bay in the snow, and it was the Tennessee Titans, and they got blown out. And I think Green Bay seasons gone by, I'd toy against betting against them because you can run against them, but their defense towards the end of the season has played so well that I think they've got it. And even if the Rams and Aiken managed to get his pads in behind that offensive line, I think Rodgers, the MVP of this season, by the way, so far, even with a limited time of possession, has enough splash plays that he's gonna carry it home. I just think he's got enough on him to take it. The only
way they even have a chance is run the ball and Aaron Donald getting Rodgers' face all day. One, Donald's hurt, so we don't know if that's going to affect him a ton or not. And two, like you said, even if you clock manage, you can't give Aaron Rodgers the ball with less than 2 minutes left in the half or less than 2 minutes left at the end of the game. You can't do that. You can't do that with him or Patrick Mahomes or certain guys, right? So you can't kick field goals. You got to score touchdowns if you're the Rams. You got to control the clock, and you got to disrupt Rodgers on defense. Good luck.
Yeah, and good luck. Good luck to the Rams. I think that's a good way to end that game. I just think that Ramsey against Adams matchup is the one that could decide it. Ramsey's really got to lock down Adams all day.
But even if he does, MVS is playing out of his mind, Scantling, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Rodgers can throw to any of his running backs, his tight ends. I just don't see there's a spot where it's not like a team where if you go and play Atlanta, if you take Julio away, you got a good chance of winning.
Yeah.
I don't think even if you take Adams away, it's really going to slow down that offense.
Yeah, I think they've got the Packers have enough playmakers, even if you do take down Adams. But I just think Ramsey has to take away Adams. Donald has to get Rodgers all day, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But I just think the Packers are in the NFC
and they got to
Championship
shut down
game.
the Packers running game too, which
they've got. That's the difference this season, isn't it? They've got a running game.
Yeah. It's huge. It's huge for Rodgers. If you look at the way he's playing, and he always plays amazing because his down years are better than most guys' good years, right? Yeah. But that running game and the fact that you can tell he knows he doesn't have to do everything anymore seems to have really taken some weight off of him.
Yeah, he can be special as he is. He's a special quarterback, and he can be even more special because he doesn't have to think, I have to score a touchdown every drive because we can't run the ball, or I don't have to make this pass every drive because we can't run the ball. He's got to run. And hey, the NFC North's going to have somebody in the NFC Championship game next week. So
I agree.
That's going to be good.
I agree.
Yeah, that's good for your podcast.
It is, and it'll make three fans of teams on my NFC North page pissed off, and one of them will love it. So
Perfect. Hey, you're going to get some fun. There should be some fun memes going around on your page. There should be some nice discussions going around. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's the best thing with having more than one administrator on that page, because we're both fans of different teams. And I swear we're harder on our own teams than we are on each other's, right? So it's kind of nice because the best jokes seem to come from the fan of that team.
Yeah, I'm going to keep up with the comments section of your page this week, because I think there should be some fun stuff going on from Packers fans and then going against the Packers fans. I'm excited for it. It's going to be good.
So I have to ask you now, we'll move on to the Browns Steelers, but the Browns Steelers. We're moving on to the Browns Chiefs, and I got to ask you who you got.
I've caved and gone for the Chiefs. I've got to go for them. I just think I love the Browns this season, and I'm not a big footballing romantic. Like, I'm not, like, I always think I don't care if you've never won a playoff game. The best team wins. Like, as long as the best team wins, I don't mind. But with the Browns, I've kind of got wrapped up in that whole playoff story, especially just because I don't like the Steelers. Like, I enjoyed them beating them last week, but I just think the Chiefs is a step too far. There's a few people really going in on the Chiefs, saying that they're not playing well. So Colin Cowherd again saying that they've been playing bad football, but they're 15-1.
Right?
No, they're not. 15-2. 15-2. But the last game, Mahomes wasn't playing. And we have a saying in the UK where it's champions win ugly. And it's kind of like, so Man United went to Burnley, which is a team, like a really rough team, really cold night, and they got an ugly 1-0 win. That's what I saw the Chiefs doing all season. They went champions win ugly. They win the games that they look like they're not going to win, but they still somehow win them. And their season all year has started with the playoffs.
Yeah, did anybody watch them last year? Because they won some of those games pretty ugly too.
Yeah, exactly. They were worse last year. Like, that's the thing. A lot of the times I was looking at them and I just think, these guys, are they bored? Like, are they a bit bored? Is that what's going on? I just think the Chiefs have enough to win that game. Patrick Mahomes is the best football player in the NFL. And he's going to go out there and want to silence those people saying that he's been playing badly and he's been rusty. And I think the Browns are a good matchup for them as well. I just think the Chiefs' run defense is the only thing that would make me question this game.
Okay, I will be cheering for the Browns. I am a big Kevin Stefanski fan, and I've always liked Baker Mayfield, Jarvis Landry, but I'm a huge fan of Kevin Stefanski. I think he was a great hire, and I think he has a lot to do with their success because they had all the talent, okay?
Yeah.
But I also think this falls in the realm of the Packers game, like we were talking coming up. The Browns have to run the ball, play good defense, control the clock, not make any mistakes. Except I think they have a slightly better chance of beating the Chiefs than I think the Rams have of beating the Packers. But
I agree. Definitely.
I'll be cheering for them, but I still think the Chiefs win this game. I think that offense is too high-powered. Andy Reid is a fucking genius. Patrick Mahomes, how do you cover Hill? You know what I mean? It's just, you got Sammy Watkins. You got the best tight end in football in Kelsey. I just don't know how you combat that.
Yeah. The Browns have a good enough defense, but their back end can be halved. And it just so happens that that's where the Chiefs are strongest. And you can say Myles Garrett goes and gets after the quarterback, but then Mahomes is magic. I just don't understand how he gets some of the plays off that he does. I can see the Browns having more of an effect this game than people think they will have, but I still back the Chiefs to win. And I do think the Browns kind of played their Super Bowl last week. So it's very difficult for them. It's going to be difficult for them emotionally to get up twice to play. I think they just, all their emotion went into that game against the Steelers, and fair play to the Browns. I think they're going to be a playoff team for years to come. They're not going to have a drought like that again, especially with the extra playoff cards, because they are in a difficult division. But there's an extra wild card, so I can see them being in the playoffs. This is a stretch too far, I think, for them.
Yeah, I think the worst thing that happened to them is they hit one of the 2 to 3 best teams in the playoffs in this round.
Yeah.
And you're the defending champ. And like I said, I'll be cheering for the Browns, but I'm picking the Chiefs because I think the Chiefs will win this game. I think both teams have great coaching. So instead of X's and O's, it'll be the Jimmies and the Joes who decide this game, which is always fun, when it's not just coaching. Because like we talked about earlier, there's a couple coaching questions I had from last week.
Yeah, definitely. There was a few sketchy calls. I think Stefanski's got himself coach of the year from me. I think I'm going to give that to Stefanski.
I think it's
or maybe Ron Rivera.
Don't.
Yeah,
if you look, not only are they the Browns, right? And a couple years away from not even winning a game, right? And then they had 2 years in a row where they won one game.
Yeah.
And now you're in the playoffs and COVID slapped you guys in the face not once this year, but twice.
Yeah.
I just saying, like, I think that they've overcame more than any other playoff team that's still left, and I'm really just impressed with the whole Cleveland organization right now.
I would like to see them win this game. I just can't see it happening. And I want to see it happen, but I just can't see it happening.
I agree.
I think the only way that they could win this game is if the same thing happens that happened against the Steelers and the Chiefs aren't ready. Like the Chiefs aren't ready and they're not willing to go in and put pads on pads and go against running the ball. But I don't know. Just at Arrowhead Stadium as well, even if it's not totally full, it's still loud. Like I think they've got it. I think the Chiefs are going to win it.
Yeah, unless you have a bunch of turnovers, which I don't see the Chiefs doing. Probably not, but okay. So here's the game. I left this one for last on purpose. And we're talking Ravens-Bills. And this is one of the games where I'm not sure where you're going to lean, where I was pretty good at guessing the other ones. But before you get a chance to steal my thunder again, because you were 6-0, Ravens.
Ooh, right, okay. Bills are going to win this game.
All right, here we go. We're not agreeing on everything. That's good.
Yeah. I was actually picking the Bills. It wasn't just because you picked the Ravens. I did think the Bills are going to win this game. I think I'm not confident in this pick at all. I think this is the worst matchup for the Bills that they could have got. I think they would have preferred to go against Kansas City. Then they would have preferred to go against the Chiefs. Yeah, if my predictions are right, they'll be playing in the AFC game, and I really don't know. And that's going to be a great game. I just think with the way Josh Allen looked against you've got to remember the Colts have a great defense. The Colts have an awesome defense, and he didn't have the most time of the ball because the Colts were running the ball as well. And he still got some great yards, like got through the ball amazingly. And when you have Stephon Diggs on the outside, that has to be covered. And he went for 185 yards receiving. I just think maybe the Bills have got it, but the issue is they couldn't stop the run against the Colts. And the Colts went for 163 yards. And I mean, against the Titans, Lamar went for 136 himself. So it all depends on whether the Bills can stop the run. That's where this game is.
So I'll give you my reasoning, okay? And we're going to leave just Lamar's super talent out of it because that's obvious, okay?
Yeah.
So when I look at this game, one, I agree with you on the run game, and that's where I'm like, Baltimore has a four-headed monster when it comes to running the football, okay? They have a good offensive line that gets you back, knocks you on your butt, you know what I mean, moves the line of scrimmage. But for me, I've watched a lot of Stephon Diggs from Maryland, and I know people are going to say this is revisionist, but I have a cousin who admits with me who can tell you I called Stefon Diggs before he came out of college on being a great receiver because I watch a lot of college ball. Then I watched a lot of him with the Vikings. To stop Stefon Diggs, and I don't know why more teams don't do this, you play man-to-man with your second best corner, second best, okay? Right. You drop your safety over the top with always a double team, and then you take your best corner and you put him on Beasley.
Yeah.
And if you double team and bracket Diggs, that's where he had his hardest time with the Vikings. So unless Adam Thielen or somebody else got going in some of those games, that's why Diggs was getting frustrated because they were double teaming him all the time and made somebody else. And then once Thielen would get it or Johnson, then they'd have to like change the coverage and it opened up Diggs. Well, if I'm Baltimore, I double cover Diggs the whole game and I put my best corner on Beasley and I say, where are you going to beat me?
Yeah, and I think the answer to that question is in Josh Allen's legs. Because I think we're all saying all the Rams, the Ravens are the ones who need to run the football. But I think if you take away Josh Allen's weapons, then he runs the ball. So then you have to cover the run because you forget that the guy can cook. Like he can run that football. And then the options will start to open. I don't trust Lamar's arm to take on Josh Allen in a shootout.
I don't either, but see, I think, okay, first of all, you're absolutely right. People do not give Allen the credit because of his size. He doesn't look like he can move the way he does.
Yeah.
Also, I think this game, both teams have to run the ball. I don't think either. I think this game is run the ball, hit big plays, win the game. Play defense, win the game, right? Yeah. I don't think all those big plays are going to come from the arm. That's why I think the Ravens have an advantage because of Lamar's legs are so much more than Josh Allen's, right? Like, and not to take anything away from Allen, but the only guy who's as electric as Lamar when he runs right now, maybe Kyler Murray, maybe.
Yeah.
And so Lamar is actually more jaw-dropping than Michael Vick was with his legs at times. I just think Vick's arm was better. But I've also watched games where Lamar is just throwing on a rope. Everything's a dime. And so it depends with his arm that way. But I think he makes more plays with his legs that help them win that game.
Yeah, I think that I just trust Josh Allen's arm talent. I think the coaching staff of the Bills are better than the coaching staff of the Ravens, which is probably quite harsh on John Harbaugh and the Ravens organization. They're an amazingly well-coached organization, but Sean McDermott, is that the Bills?
Yes.
The Bills head coach? Yeah. He's got them playing the football that he wants them to play. I just back Josh Allen's arm talent to carry them through this game and onto the AFC Championship games where they play the Chiefs, and then that is a better matchup for them.
I don't argue that you're wrong on the sense that, because yes, I agree with everything you just said. Where I disagree is I don't think the arms of the quarterbacks are going to decide this game. And that's where the difference, that's why if I would have been on the same thinking, I definitely would go with the Bills passing game and everything. But I think this is more of run the ball and who hits the big plays. And it seems like with Lamar, he can hit him with his legs. But it seems like those Raven Biggs plays, and I don't know how it happens, but Hollywood Brown or one of them tight ends are wide open.
Yeah, every time. It is impressive that they're so open every time. I don't know. I think they both broke their duck last week, so I think they're going to be ready to go in this one, and they're going to be both kind of more comfortable. They're like, right, I've won that playoff now. That's what people were expecting me at the start of the season. They weren't expecting me to be the AFC Championship quarterback at the start of the season. I think maybe they've got their fans are going to forgive them one way or the other, depending on who goes out. And I think I trust the Bills coaching staff more to make Lamar throw the ball and find a way for Josh Allen to get it to Stephon Diggs and get Cole Beasley's underouts going as well. This one could really go either way. I think we'll know in the first.
And it's so weird because I can't attack your argument because I agree with you. Yeah. I just see the game going differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like exactly. One of those, it's like, going to be a great game.
Yeah, it's like we will know which one of us is right within the first quarter or whatever. I don't trust the Ravens to come from behind, whereas I trust the Bills to come from behind if they're given the chance to. That's why I think
I agree with that too. It is like we talked about last week. Even though I took the Titans, if they got behind by a bunch, I didn't think they could come back. But again, I don't think the Ravens will get down like that just because that defense is playing well. And
that defense is playing well.
I don't like if somebody throws for 300 yards, that team's winning.
Yeah, basically. I think that's where it is, and I
don't think either of them get to 300, but yeah, if somebody hits 300, they're winning.
Yeah, I could see Josh Allen getting to 300.
Yeah, Lamar's not.
Lamar's not. Lamar won't get to 300 in this game. He's going to run that ball, and he is a talented enough quarterback to win it by himself, running the ball, no doubt. And if the Bills don't stop him, they're going to lose this game. But I can see the Bills finding a way to stop him and taking away his legs, and then it's kind of like, right, Lamar, throw the ball over the top, go for it. They'll give it to him. They'll say, throw that ball, and if he can make them, Lamar wins the game. Fair play.
Yeah, you live with that.
That's the way to beat him, isn't it? You live with him beating you throwing, but you can't live with him running it through you because you know that's what he's going to do. Whereas Allen can run. Allen's a way above average runner. He's a big guy. Like he's not the same kind of runner as Lamar.
If Lamar beats you passing, you'll live with it. If the Bills beat you running, you'll live with it.
Yeah,
because you're not going to going to try to stop letting Josh Allen beat you with his arm, and you're going to try to stop Lamar from beating you with his legs. So if it happens the other way, you just got to live with that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, isn't it? And you could see it happening as well. You could see the Bills beating them with the run game, and you can see Lamar beating them with the pass game. Like
that's it. There's 2 games this weekend where I can see either team winning, and then there's 2 games where I'm pretty sure the Chiefs and the Packers both win.
I'm pretty sure the Chiefs and the Packers both win. And then the Tampa Bay and Saints, Bills and Ravens. We'll see what happens, but
you know what'll happen? Because we said that both those games are going to be blowouts, and then the Rams and the
definitely.
The Chiefs games are going to be nail biters, right?
Yeah, easy. As long as they fall on the right side, and I get a 4-0, then I'm okay. Then that's fine by me.
So you're going to be like, what is it, 13-0 by the time we close this thing out, or what?
No idea. We'll see. I feel more confident in the AFC and NFC championship predictions than I do in the divisional rounds.
Well, like I joked to my friends, I said, leave it to me to get beaten picks from a guy from the UK.
Yeah, man.
Like in soccer and cricket, I'd expect you to outpick me. Like soccer and cricket, I'd expect it, but geez.
I'd be heartbroken if you outpicked me in cricket.
Well, if I outpicked you in cricket, it would be absolutely by accident.
Yeah. Okay, who you backing? England or Sri Lanka in the upcoming Test series? It's in Sri Lanka, so that could make a difference.
I was going to go with Sri Lanka anyway because I have no idea where it is, and I figured I'm going to go with them.
Sri Lanka. Okay. I'm going to pick England just to go against you, and I'll let you know the winner. Okay.
Yeah, because I don't even know the rules. It kind of looks like baseball with hockey equipment on. I'm not even sure how that works. So
yeah. I mean, I'll try and let you know. I'll try and let you know. The game does take 5 days, so it may take some time.
Really?
Yeah.
I got some reading to do about cricket.
Yeah, man. I would check it out.
But
it's a decent game.
I am the weirdo who watches curling during the Olympics.
Mate, I love curling.
See,
I
my
love
wife
curling
thinks I'm
just because.
crazy. She's like, "What are
Yeah,
you
I love
watching?"
curling.
I'm like, "Curling."
I think it's just because it's like it's the one that there's only a few spots that the Brits are good at in the Winter Olympics, and curling we're all right at. So I think that like British people get weirdly behind curling in the Winter Olympics. It's pretty mad.
Okay.
Curling and skeleton. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm also the weirdo. If USA hockey's at like 4 in the morning, I set my alarm.
Yeah. That's yeah. Well, we have to do that with cricket all the time. So England playing Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's just below India. So that game for us starts at 4:30. And obviously, but then the final day of the cricket is just after the Sunday night games for the playoffs. So I might just stay up all the way through
There you
from
go.
9 o'clock till 4, and then the cricket starts at 4 o'clock. So we'll
Yeah, you know why cricket's not big here? Because nobody in the US has enough patience for anything that takes 5 days.
yeah, I don't think lots of British people have enough patience for stuff
Okay,
that takes
because
5 days.
we're really the hurry up, and like I watch people at our fast food restaurants get mad if it takes more than 4 minutes. Where I
Yeah,
read something that over by you guys, the average wait is 8 and you're cool with it. So you're more
yeah,
patient than we are.
yeah. Fast food's pretty chill over here. I've been to the US and was amazed at how quick food comes out. To be honest, it kind of worried me. It was just like,
It
oh,
should, because we got zero
yeah,
standards on food. Don't let them lie
yeah. I was like, oh
to
man, that can't be cooked properly.
you. Well, I appreciate you coming on so much. I'm hoping you want to come back after this round and do it again.
Yeah, of course, man.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Check out travelstorysociety.com. There's a bunch of stuff for you guys to read or watch on there. And if you got some cool stories, feel free to get a hold of Maddie and share them with them. All right, you guys.
Yeah.
One world, one love. Deuces.
See you later, guys.
Everything's polluted. The environment, the government, the schools, you name it.
This radio person is the whole problem. Are we going to allow this guy to be heard by anyone who can turn a dial?
You out there? You listening?